Well, let's see if my audio is working. I guess it is. I just got to know if I wanted to continue without without the audio. Well, maybe a lot of you would like that, but anyway, um, there's topics of pretty much international interest um, that these parties seem to want to stay away from. One is the legalization of drugs. Now, you think Bernie Sanders would be just pushing and pushing for it. I mean, if people are free, truly free, then they should have the right and the right not leaned on by the government to put whatever they themselves want in their bodies, as long as it doesn't harm someone else by them doing so. I mean, as long as they don't uh, overdo some speed or something and go out and fucking kill somebody on the highway or whatever. Same as alcohol. You know, they don't drink too much and drive. If they want to, if they have to do a little speed or something to stay up, who gives a shit? As long as it doesn't affect their coordination and everything else if they're out on the road or something. As far as opiates go, who gives a shit? Listen, when the Taliban ran uh, Afghanistan, they had cut production of poppies down to next to nothing, less than 10%, because it was against Muslim law, the law from the Shia law, to do drugs. So they wouldn't allow the raising of poppies. When the Americans went in, took over, poppy fields sprang up all over. We, for the most part, we would send some pictures back saying we sprayed a few fields, but for the most part, we let them go because it was a big part of the gross domestic product of Pakistan. And to keep people happy, you keep money in their pocket. Now, what happened was the Taliban realized what a, what a moneymaker this is. And like ISIS and other terror groups, they need funding. So now the vast majority of heroin in the world is coming from fields overseen and regulated by the Taliban. How's that? So the junkie down on A Street is buying heroin, and that money goes to the Taliban. What nonsense! Let the junkie buy what he wants. Make it an open market, and then maybe they'll be raising poppies in this country, and then make opiates a little cheaper for everybody. Who cares? If the guy's addicted, he's going to get them one way or the other. Let's get him some with supervision, and let's get him some where the quality remains the same. There's a little town about 2 miles from here that is overrun now by heroin, and there are people overdosing probably one a week down there, but nobody ever reads about it. They cover it all up. Listen, get these people. I mean, it's a shame they're addicted, but how many of you that are listening to this smoke cigarettes or are addicted to alcohol or addicted to any other substance? Now, it's a tax money maker, any kind of drugs. I don't know why I specialized opiates, but cocaine and morphine and heroin are all opiates. But marijuana, look at the. I haven't seen any terrible increase in crime or domestic abuse or any other problem growing out of Washington or Colorado. Their drug programs very successful, and marijuana has many benefits, but yet the Republicans all get up crazy like oh, don't get me started on 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 Reagan and his idiot wife. She just happened to have died. Who cares? Um, just say no. They just said no also to the idea that anybody should ever mention the word HIV or AIDS if it wasn't for C. Everett Koop, who just blasted the program wide open and told everybody what the dangers were. These Republicans and the Reagans, Nancy in particular, did what they could to keep the lid on AIDS while AIDS was spreading like wildfire among both the heterosexual and the homosexual community. They are responsible for the death of thousands and thousands of people from that poor white boy. The last name was White. That got it. He was a hemophiliac that got it through a blood transfusion. Had these things been open, that blood transfusion could have been prevented from ever entering into the blood bank. But anyway, we're digressing. This thing is about legalizing certain things that should be legalizing and certain things Bernie Sanders ought to be pushing like crazy. I think that all drugs should be legal. They should have some regulation by the federal government, not individual states. Look at what a killing tax-wise Colorado is making, and look at what a killing the neighboring states are making because they're stopping people in their early 20s that drive into Colorado to get a little dope. When they come back, they stop and pull over and say, I smell dope. That gives me a reason to search your car, which it doesn't, but they use it as it, and they make a bunch of money busting people for carrying a little bit of marijuana out of Colorado into the neighboring states. Well, those neighboring states are going to catch on quick that there's more money in taxing it than there is in prosecuting it. And where our jails are full. Almost half the people in jail are for nonviolent drug offenses. What a crime in itself. And the bill for keeping them in jail is so much greater than treating them if they're truly addicted and need help, or just letting them go. They'll go home after work and smoke a joint. Who gives a goddamn? Now, the second question is legalizing prostitution. Now, who gets hurt in prostitution? Well, all the feminists say, oh, it's degrading to the woman. Well, don't go into prostitution. Who can tell individually without being that person, and that's a subjective call, whether or not they enjoy sex and enjoy being prostitutes. And of course a lot of people may be prostitutes because they have drug habits they have to support, and both of these things go together. But don't fool yourself in thinking that you've never used a prostitute or that you don't promote prostitution. Every time you take a girl to the movies, to dinner, or any place else with the idea that you're going to have a good time and afterwards you're going to have some good sex, then you are promoting prostitution because you're spending money on her to get in her pants. Now, she might very well want you to get in her pants, but it might, in many cases, be cheaper for you to hire some whore for $20 to give you a blowjob than it is to take somebody you're not sure you're going to get sex out of, if sex is the main reason you're doing what you're doing. Even for the movies, a goddamn take somebody to a movie anymore. It's $50 if they want popcorn, a soda, and whatever. You take somebody to a bar and you have 2 martinis. There goes a blowjob, probably with each martini. So it doesn't make sense. And why the freedom candidate Bernie isn't jumping all over this? Why? Because there are nutcases like the Cruz and his crew that are so far right wing that they think they have the option of telling you what you can do with your body and what you can put in your body.